What's going on, folks? It's your main man, Rick the Dawn. Hey, I want to have a uh, really early conversation about something that I cannot ignore. Okay, I can't ignore what I feel that is coming on the horizon, and I think that we need to have a discussion about it. Will Michael become the target of a floater? We have to talk about it, and you're in the right place to do so. Before we do, thank you for watching. Thank you for liking. Also, I'd like to say this episode is brought to you by the Really Hood Podcast. If you enjoy my take here, then you would surely enjoy my takes on various topics on my podcast. Also, this episode is brought to you by Broken Heart Shirts, which is where I sell shirts like the one I'm wearing. But anyway, let's have a conversation. Obviously, if you clicked on this video, then obviously you already know what just took place. All right, it is Friday, 12:15 a.m. Okay, and it has just been announced that Michael has won the HOH, and I want to first give my main man Tim. Tim is one of my friends online, and he shared that information with me, and he even was courteous enough to ask me if I was ready for the information. So I have to give a shout out to Tim. Thank you, Tim. I know you're probably checking this out a little bit later, but thank you, brother. I appreciate you. So Tim revealed to me that Michael won the HOH, and if you go back and watch the episode, I'm just floored because I'm learning that in real time. As you know, Thursday's episode goes off without not showing even a inkling of the HOH competition. So when I hear that information, I'm absolutely floored, and I can't believe what I'm hearing. But yes, folks, the very first question I must pose: how do you feel about Michael being the HOH winner again? Now, I said it in my last episode. I said that as of right now, Michael is arguably one of the best players of all time. And when I said that, I noticed someone in the comments state that, well, he may be the second greatest of all time because you can't forget about Janelle. And I ended the episode prior to being able to respond to that comment. And what I would have told that person is Michael was tied with Janelle prior to this win. I believe they were tied or both tied at 7. And don't quote me on that, but I believe that they were both tied at 7 or 8. But whatever the case might be, this win puts Michael ahead of Janelle. So listen, this guy is clearly one of the best to ever touch the game of Big Brother. And the only thing that he's missing on his resume is a win. You can't make this up. So the question has to become the question that this entire episode is based upon is will Michael meet his BB demise at the hands of a floater? Now bear with me here. Bear with me here. I picked 3 individuals specifically as I plan to discuss this situation or at least this topic. I know some people might find that word offensive, but when I say floater, I'm not trying to belittle, I'm not trying to demean. I'm saying a player, for the most part, who did not use strategy as a primary aspect of their game. Okay, so let's look at the players who I deemed floaters. Okay, this is a term in Big Brother. It's not a term of endearment, but certainly it is not a term that is not used often. Okay, don't cancel me, please. All right, I've seen enough canceling for today that I want to be canceled for using the word floater, please. All right, here it is. I'm going to say Alyssa. Alyssa has been in a showmance, and she just ended the showmance. So if you consider that she was in a showmance about 90% of the game, and then she just ended it, for me, that's like taking 2 steps forward and then 2 steps back. Outside of the showmance, I can't think of another big move that Alyssa was a part of. She was a part of the All Girls Alliance, and then that broke down. I just don't see any major contributions from Alyssa. So, for the Alyssa fans, please share with me, what am I missing? What did she do? What were her big contributions to the game? Help me out with that, please. All right, the next player who I deem to be a floater is Terrence. Terrence has certainly peaked at one point in this game. I would argue that he peaked last week during Dire Fest. I thought that was by far his most redeeming week. Prior to that, I just didn't want to hear much come out of his mouth because he said some, really disrespectful things. And I'm not following the cancel culture gang. I'm just saying that I didn't like the comments, by myself. If there were no one else on the world but myself, Terrence, and Taylor, I would have found that to be inappropriate, not a line. Okay, so this is not a gang up mentality here at place or in place. I will say that beyond last week, he had not, in my opinion, done enough to not be deemed a floater. I will also give him some due here. I enjoyed seeing him speak his mind with regards to the Kyle situation and the language that he used. That I'm not offended by, but that's a different discussion for a different day. And I was also happy to see him call out Brittany and Michael and ask why they waited so long to reveal this information. So again, Terrence has done some things that are arguably really strategic, but his start to the game was extremely slow. I think for maybe the first month of or I'm sorry, the first 2 weeks of the game, I didn't even notice he was. I barely noticed him because he was so occupied with like a Nicole and Daniel, and some of those kind of gameplay strategies and moves. He was with that group, and I wasn't a big fan of anything that was taking place in that circumference. So for me, though Terrence has done a lot to redeem himself as of late, I'm not prepared to not call him a floater. Okay. And then the third person who I'm going to call a floater might be the most controversial because I know Brittany has some diehard fans out there, but I'm definitely not one of them. Now I will argue, and I will say that I do like her as a person. I'm more of a conservative myself, so any person that is conservative, typically I get along with, or if I don't get along with them, I tend to like them. All right, from afar. But the point is, she is a sweetheart, and it's hard not to like someone who is sweet, who's nice. And then you got to remember when the backstage twist took place, who won the votes? America picked Brittany to win, and at that time we didn't really put much into it. And then it was that situation in which Brittany came to Pooch and just kind of disintegrated in front of Pooch, giving him some information that she later regretted. And that's when I said, this young lady here is just not my cup of tea. She doesn't play a game of Big Brother the way that I would imagine it would be played. But then Brittany does the amazing thing, which is align herself with two very strong players, that being Michael and Taylor. And from that point forward, she's been on cruise control. So, what is the binding definition of a floater? Someone who's on cruise control. They're basically in a pool, they're floating, nobody's targeting them, nobody's looking at them. And that's what I would call a floater. It's like a freaking floating duck in some waters. They're in no trouble whatsoever as a result of not making any waves. So if we choose to look at that definition, then I think by far Brittany is a floater. Okay. Now the primary theme of this video is, will Michael meet his BB demise as a result of a floater? I'll give you a scene. I'm gonna give you a scene to set this up. I'm going to give you something that maybe you've seen. Let me explain why I say a floater, because you know what's going to happen right now. If you ask me, I believe that Michael will probably put up two very powerful players, that being Turner and Monty, something or someone of that caliber, maybe even. But in fact, let me stop here. Who does Michael put up? I don't think he puts up Brittany. I don't think he puts up Taylor. I don't think so. Not after the week that we just had. Uh, I wouldn't even be surprised to see him put up Turner and Alyssa at this point. That way, so that he's still in alignment with this whole woke agenda that he has. But he's smart enough to know what he has to do. I have no doubt in that. But I'm saying I'm a little confused about his targets now. He's played so hard to the cancel culture woke group that I don't see him putting up Monty right now, but it's possible, obviously. But if you're asking me, I'm going to say if he's the Michael that I think he is, which is the person who will do anything to win this game, he's probably going to put up Turner and Monty, or he's going to put up Turner and Alyssa with a backdoor plan for Monty, something of that caliber. Okay, and you know what's going to happen from that point forward. All the big players, all the big threats, that being Turner, Monty, Taylor, and Michael, they're going to battle it out and they're going to start the process of elimination. And you know what happens when the biggest players start to eliminate each other? The floaters just sit and watch, right? And given the fact that Michael has proven himself to be quite accomplished, quite impressive when it comes to competitions, whether it be HOH or veto competitions. Since he has been so dominant in that regard, listen, I'm not afraid to say this. Michael may win out. And here's why he may win out. Who's going to beat him? Who's going to beat him? If Brittany wins, she's going to align herself with whatever Michael wants, because there's some talk on my Facebook groups, which I didn't know this, but I hear that Brittany conceded to Michael, saying that if we get to the final, I'll throw it to you, or something of that effect. So yes, could have been gameplay. I don't know. I can't say for sure. But Brittany more than likely will not beat Michael, whether it be HOH or veto. Terrence, same thing. Turner can he can pull off a win here and there. He's shown that, so I'll maybe leave him out of this equation. Who else? Taylor. I haven't seen her beat Michael enough, if not at all. I don't know if Michael participated in that wall competition. Help me out with that. But I don't think Taylor can beat Michael. Monty, I don't think Monty can beat Michael. Listen, Monty won the invitation HOH, and he's won really nothing else outside of that. All right, he has the physicality, or at least the physique, or the look, or the optics that he would be able to compete with a Michael, but nothing else proves that. So as a result, it is my opinion that Michael can win out. There's no one there to stop him. As a result, he's going to target the biggest players. And guess what? You know what's going to be left over? It's going to be a Terrence, Brittany, and an Alyssa. You know, and even in talking about the people that Michael can beat, I completely forgot to name Alyssa. That is how incognito Alyssa is. Okay, that's how. Now, here's the thing. If Michael wins the HOH, you understand something, right? He's vulnerable the following week, in which the only way to get him out is a backdoor plan. All right. Can you imagine if Michael doesn't get picked for the veto this week? He's donezo. Kyle is still in the game. So either he wins out or he gets picked for every veto. Now, there is some talks out there that I don't agree with, that I don't support. There's some people who say that the game is rigged and that is the only reason that Michael gets picked for the veto. I don't believe that. I believe that literally he was picked because of chance. It's only, or at that time, there were only about 7 to 8 players in the game. So the chances of being picked are just greatly magnified. So I'm not sure that I'm not going that far. Okay, I'm not going that far with the conspiracies. But in Michael targeting these bigger players who he knows are a threat to his game, he's going to completely forget about the Terrences, the Alyssas, the Brittany's. In fact, I've heard Brittany be compared to a bulletproof vest for Michael. I'm not sure how that works, because she hasn't taken any shots. She's so under the radar. No one's shooting at Brittany whatsoever. Okay, that will be the equivalent of wearing a vest to a water fight. You know what I mean? It's nobody taking shots. So I'm not sure. And then you also have to consider the fact that because he's not targeting Brittany, she'll make it pretty far in this game by default. And you know, between the two, Brittany and Michael, let's say Monty wins HOH next week. Who do you think he's going to take the shot at? So whether invertedly or directly, Michael may be the casualty of a floater. Okay, let me give you a scene. I'm going to paint a scene for you. I don't know if you've ever seen a movie called Scarface. All right, I don't know if you've seen that movie, Scarface, beautiful movie, Al Pacino, right? Okay, Scarface, Al Pacino was the biggest, baddest gangster. You know, almost invincible. I mean, you had to see that last scene in the movie where, you know, the gangsters are storming his home and trying to take over the house, and he's taking all this fire, and he's not going down. And then you know what happens? Someone creeps behind the most powerful man of this movie and takes him out. And that's what I mean when I say, will Michael become the casualty of a floater, someone who is not really a threat? Wouldn't it be interesting? Wouldn't it be crazy if a player like Terrence took out Michael? Before you laugh, consider this. Hey, who broke up the leftovers? Who was it? Was it this big grand player like a Turner? Was it a Monty? No, it was little old Terrence. Okay, BB Direfest, Joseph. No, I'm sorry. Kyle feels so comfortable with Terrence that he reveals everything to Terrence. So you can make the argument, and I would also make it with you. Terrence is the person who destroyed the leftovers. It was under Terrence's HOH reign where the leftovers crumbled. So that's a great example of the point I'm trying to make. I mean, about a month ago, this video could have been titled, "Will the leftovers be taken out by a floater?" And you know what the answer would have been? It would have been yes. Okay. If I don't think Michael is gonna, let's point this out. Is Michael gonna target Terrence at any point in this game before he targets Monty, Turner, Taylor? I don't think so. All right. I don't think so. All right. And you have to also consider that Alyssa hasn't won anything. But you know what? Her time could happen at any moment. You know, these competitions, there might be a competition where you have to find something amongst a whole bunch of crazy stuff, or pick between two different comic books. You know, that competition is coming. You know, she could just get one in. Same thing with Brittany. Brittany was almost close, or she was very close to winning one competition. The one, I forget which one it was. She was close to winning one though, and then Terrence has won one. So the point I'm trying to make is, it wouldn't be implausible that a floater could win a HOH and want to make a big move. I mean, think about it. If you're a floater and you're nearing the finals, you're like in the top 5, top 4. Who are you taking a shot at in order to add more credibility to your chances of winning the game? Michael. Okay. So let me know what you think about that. Do you think that Michael will win out? Do you think he'll be taken out by a strong, dominant player like a Monty or Turner or Taylor? Or do you think that he'll be the casualty of a floater, someone who is not on the radar? I would love to know what you think, and I can't wait to see myself. And also, I would like to know, if you don't mind, who do you see going up on the block via Michael's HOH? I've already kind of pointed out. I believe that it will be, maybe, I'm going to go with Alyssa and Turner with a backdoor option to get Monty out. Um, I would argue that Michael is probably going to win the veto as well. And if that happens, he may decide to bring Alyssa down and put Monty up and let the house have their way. I don't know. Those are just predictions, okay? And I know that the live feeds will be revealing this information soon, but I just like to give my, my honest takes and predictions. I think that's a little more courageous, in my opinion. I usually have people come by and say, "Hey, you didn't know this happened, or you're a little bit late." It's like, that's cool. You're watching the live feeds, you're watching the secrets be revealed, whereas I'm trying to guess them. So, let me live a little bit when it comes to that. But I would like to know what you think. Thank you for checking in with your main man. And what's up, Montana? All right, here we go. Yeah, I'm rooting for number 1, Monty, number 2, Terrence, 3, Turner, Taylor, Alyssa, Brittany, Michael. So, Montana, you're you have Michael 7th place. You're not really picking him to be. He's not really a favorite of yours. Am I reading that correctly? That's what it looks like to me. So you're rooting for Monty first. Then, so am I? Is this accurate as well? Are you saying that you're rooting for? Okay, interesting. All right, so Montana has confirmed. I would like to just say this. I want to read this again, if you don't mind. So Montana is rooting for number 1, Monty, and I've seen that online. A lot of people are starting to pick up on Monty. Monty was a player that, in my opinion, when I read the my Facebook comments and things of that nature, a lot of people didn't really know how to feel about Monty. But I've seen a lot of support for him over the last few weeks. I think that he certainly redeemed himself from some of the earlier hiccups in the game. Maybe taking what Taylor told him and telling Paloma, some of that stuff rubbed me the wrong way. But I feel that he's come a long way in the game, and a lot of people are starting to appreciate who he is as a player and as a person. But I do want to know what's up with this with number 2, Terrence. That's an interesting one. Listen, I told you a long time ago, Terrence is starting to heat up. He is certainly someone who has redeemed himself greatly. Um, and it doesn't surprise me that people are starting to like him. Look, you keep letting players who I perceive to be floaters float too long. Eventually they could win the game. And I think that's what's happening. People are starting to warm up to Terrence. Terrence, according to BB Linear or BB Lore, should have been evicted a long time ago. But the longer he stays in the game, the longer America gets a chance to, peel back the layers of who this person was. He was supposed to be evicted around the time that Daniel was, but he's made it so far that we can't help but continue to observe his gameplay and appreciate him for making it this far. I'll give you a perfect example of the exact same thing. Listen, I was very vocal about my disapproval of Brittany's game. But the longer she stays in the game, the more I can appreciate her as a person. And the same can be said about Alyssa. I'm starting to see some things in her, and I'm like, okay, I'm starting to heat up here. It's gonna take a while, okay? You know how it's gonna take a while, but I'm getting there. And the point is, I'm getting there, right? So, anyway, Turner number 3. I'm not surprised by that pick. Taylor number 4. Not really surprised there. You have Alyssa, Brittany, and then Michael last. I would love to know why Michael was last, but it may have a lot to do with this last week and the questionable decisions he's made and twisting Kyle's words. He lost a lot of favor. I think prior to that, people really, really liked Michael. I'm not sure that it's still the same right now. Okay. All right. I didn't like Monty early in the season. He has really grown on me, according to Montana. And I have to say, we're right in the exact same space with that. Monty is growing on me. I don't know if I don't want Monty to win because he upset me so early. I'll tell you the truth. I'm still pulling for Michael, and I know that is not a popular opinion right now. But I like to stick with my picks. I picked Michael, and Pooch, so I will stick to that. And again, Monty, let me tell you, Monty really, really rubbed me the wrong way with the way he started the game and how he mistreated Taylor. Now, listen, I'm not canceling Monty. I'm not a part of that group. But when I saw that, it just didn't sit well with me. I didn't like the way that he was talking about Taylor, and just like, and I think from then I saw that that was a part of his character. And though he has shown to be more dynamic and more vast as an individual, I know that that part of him is there or was there, and it's hard for me to forget it. So Monty is more like number 4 on my list. Okay, number 4 on my list. I think Michael is first, Taylor is second for me, Turner is third for me. So we kind of agree on Turner, obviously. Okay. Yeah, Michael potentially really destroyed Kyle's. Exactly. So I have to understand. I get where you're coming from, Montana. I think once he makes that decision to twist the game in that manner and use those attorney-like abilities and skills to do that, that was a low blow. That was crossing the line. And I will be honest with you, though I will not go back on my pick. I can't forgive it. Well, no, I'm sorry. I don't want to go that strong, language that strong. I won't say I can't forgive it. I can't forget it. That was certainly despicable, okay? Because that could potentially hurt him in several ways. Okay. We know that Taylor has a Lay's endorsement when she comes out because she's been, evolved. She's been bullied, long story short, and she's evolved as a person. I like Taylor a little bit more than I did at first. I mean, when I first saw Taylor, she was parading in the kitchen with a sparkly dress on. And for me, that was so cringe. I said, it's no, and even Paloma called it out. Like there was a great lack of self-awareness. And when I saw that, I said to myself, this lady is interesting. Okay. She's interesting. Pageant queen. She certainly wears that badge proudly. But I've kind of warmed up to her, and I just like that she's been very graceful when being disrespected, been very graceful when on the block, about to go home or potentially able to go home. I just love the grace that she plays the game with. She doesn't seem to low blow anybody or target anybody or say anything inappropriate to anyone, except maybe Daniel and Nicole. But she did that. Even that was done in a classy way, in my opinion. It was once they had already left. They were watching eviction speeches. You know what I mean? Not eviction speeches, exit interviews or whatever. You know what I mean? When they're outside with Julie. So I thought that was a great time to do it. She didn't do it while they were in the house to make them feel uncomfortable. So stuff like that, I appreciate it. All right, Terrence for the win. What's up, JP? French toast. Everybody is rooting for Terrence. I'm all about it. I'm all about it. You will not get any pushback. Terrence, I would like to know, if you don't mind, JP. I would like to know, what has Terrence done to, get your vote, to get your praise? What has Terrence done? And if I had to guess, I don't know what I would say. I would say the BB Dyer Fest week was strong. It showed that he was a heck of a strategic player, putting the leftovers against each other, getting a strong player like Joseph out the game. How do you not respect that? How do you not respect that, right? And then also calling out Brittany and Michael, that had to create a lot of, fandom around his gameplay. I mean, again, he's out of the way. He's not really bothering anybody at this point in the game. So, it is what it is. I respect. I'm not going to push back against anyone who's looking for a win from Terrence. Simple as that. And I will say this: if Michael gets to the final, and he gets to the final with someone like a Terrence, a Brittany, or Alyssa, he could still lose. You want to know why? Because we saw it with Paul. How many people remember when Paul got to the final? He had played the most vindictive and dirty BB game in history. And we all thought, at least I thought, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say we all, I don't want to speak for everyone, but I thought that the BB house would absolutely appreciate that gameplay because Paul played a immaculate game. Immaculate. I mean, the whole best friends thing, he was cool with everybody in the house and he was stabbing them in the back while he was hugging them. And when he got to the end, there was so much tension and so many angry people who realized the games they were being played or being spun in that they voted for the other player. I forget who it was, but it was a person that had not even played a pinch of the game that Paul had. And that's what I mean by Michael meet his demise by a floater? Okay, again, not to disrespect these players, but just to say that they have been, for the most part, out of the way. If Terrence gets to the end with Michael, it would not surprise me that to really show Michael that he needs to work on his character and that he needs to work on himself, they might just gift somebody like a Terrence the win over a player as colossal as Michael. All right, you have to see that as a possibility. All right, no way Michael won too many comps. It's just too obvious. You know what? You know I'm right there with you. If Michael pulls a KC and win an HOH or veto every week, everyone will respect it. Okay, look, I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. But Rich, I'm just saying that one thing about these finals, you have to remember something, right? Because I watch Survivor as well. People that get kicked out the game, they hold grudges, and when the current is moving in the right direction, they respect it. But I'll tell you, there's been so many times I've watched Survivor or Big Brother in the finales where the people don't respect great gameplay. Like I said, look at the season where Paul just played an immaculate game and still did not win. So it's possible that that people will not appreciate the amazing player that Michael is. Listen, I told you I have Michael pick the win, but I'm just trying to look at this thing logically. First off, I'm not sure that he wins out. I don't know if that's possible, like a Casey, but I mean, he's done the impossible by this point, so I guess it is. But the point is, I don't know. I can't say for sure. All right, but anyway, I appreciate you all for kicking it with me this late. I need to go to bed. My eyes are about to shut. Okay, but hey, I'm pumped up for Sunday. I certainly want to see what happens. Shout out to my main man Tim. I'm not sure if you're watching this, but thank you for giving me that information because otherwise I will be talking about something completely different right now. So thank you for saving me the embarrassment. I agree, but Paul was very cocky. Mike was the opposite. Let me talk about this real quick because that's something that I also thought. Paul was very cocky. But let me ask you this, Rich. Can we agree that though he was cocky, he was popular? Because here's what I'm saying. When I say popular, I remember distinctively Paul having this whole concept like the best friends, this whole best friend thing, or you know what I mean. I forget what it was, what he used, or what terminology he used, but it was like a best friend type of thing. And for him to be so cocky, he still made it to the final. He wasn't so cocky that people just despised him. He was cocky, popular, and winning at the right times. He had the right alliances. But I will agree, he is more cocky than Michael. But if we're going to hold cockiness against Paul, then at what point do we hold vindictiveness or manipulation against Michael? Because some people would rather hang around someone that was cocky rather than someone who was manipulative. For me, and maybe Rich, you don't see the game this way, but for me, taking Kyle's statements in which he does not use the word white alliance and then using that information and twisting it and telling people when it was beneficial for him and Brittany, that's manipulation at its finest, in my opinion. And I would argue that manipulation just outdoes cockiness. I can, somebody that's cocky, and I would even say that maybe Paul was rude in some cases, but I would say that he was rude when it came to the viewers. The viewers could see his rudeness. He would mock the people in the diary room, but these were not things that I think the cast members saw, right? And when he was around cast members, he seemed to be the fake Paul. In the diary room, the real Paul. The difference with that, to me, the difference between Paul and Michael is very honest. I mean, he admitted that he was a part of the eviction plot to get rid of Ameerah. He admitted some things about Kyle just recently. But I would argue that he's very, or he's not very. I won't go that far. I'll say he has manipulated the game. And once all the players that he's going to be responsible for evicting get to compare notes in the jury house, much like what happened with Paul, that's going to come back and it could hurt Michael. Once they all get together in the jury house and they're all bitter and they're all sharing information, like he said that to me too. Once that happens, I think that could be where Michael might have some issues. But to Michael's credit, he has been so honest. And you know what Michael does? He's already managing the jury. When people get evicted, you'll notice that his goodbye messages are always the truth. Like, I had to do this. I'm working with this person, that person, this person, that person, and I had to get rid of you. So people that might be his saving grace. The fact that he's so honest and that he's already managing the jury. All right. Trust me, I love the game like you. I totally agree with you. All right, Rich. I mean, listen, and I agree with you as well. I'm not, I'm just, like I said, I'm looking at both sides of the coin. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not agreeing. I'm just saying that I see your point of view, and I'm also trying to see the other side so that I can figure out which way this game may go. So certainly, I agree with you as well. I appreciate the take on that. That's a good point for sure. All right. Oh, if Michael wins out, I think he beats anyone except maybe Taylor, especially if she brings some potato chips to the finale night. Listen, let's not sleep on Taylor. Let's not sleep on her. Taylor, the first 6 players to leave the game were all by the hands of Taylor, whether directly or indirectly. I forget the names now, they've been gone for so long, but if I had to try to remember, I would say Paloma, Nicole, Daniel, Ameerah, Pooch, and come on, I forget the last one. But anyway, they were all at one point targeting Taylor, and they were trying to do this whole bully thing and gang up. Let's go for Taylor. She's the obvious target. Now look at where she is. Okay, you can't sleep on that. You can't sleep on that. That is not something that people are going. And if she doesn't beat Michael, she certainly is a heavy favorite for America's favorite house guest. You don't think Taylor's going to win America's favorite house guest? Come on now. The only competition she'll have is Turner. That's the only. There's no one even coming close to that. They're not going to pick Michael because most likely most people are a little tired of Michael winning everything. I don't think they're going to give him that too. How insane would it be if he won the competition and won America's favorite house guest? That'd be insane. I think at that point, Big Brother can just go off the air. We have seen the best player of all time. We'll never see another Michaels. Just turn it off. Just cancel the show altogether. But no, I don't think they will give that to him. I think that Taylor has that wrapped in a bow. Okay, trust me on that one. I think so. All right, quote me on that too. I agree. Michael is so underrated. I can see. I'm sorry. I said Mike. My brain. Like I said, I'm sleepy. I agree. Taylor is so underrated. I can see her evicting Michael. Taylor is a problem. Now, the question I have for you, Rich, do you think that Taylor would take the shot at Michael? Now, you remember the last HOH, Taylor did not make me a happy candidate. I did not look at her HOH reign and say to myself, she did an amazing job. She was very indecisive. She changed her target maybe 3 times at minimum. She did not do what I expected her to do with that much power. She was basically someone who could be swayed very easily. So, I felt like I was watching a child with a gun. She just wasn't able to take a clean shot. So for me, I'm not sure that her being HOH is precise as we might hope it would be. That being her going for a clear and cut target. And if I forget who went home on Taylor's week, but I do remember very vaguely that whoever went home was not really a big target. I mean, that's pretty obvious because you still got players like Monty Turner and Michael in the game. But to her defense, she was in a what do you call it? She was in the leftovers alliance, so therefore it wouldn't have made much sense for her to take that shot. But still, I mean, her HOH was pretty hard to watch for me. I don't know if you remember that, and I don't know if you agree. But for me, that was cringe. Okay, I'm just being honest. All right, Taylor during the split house already did not want Michael to reach forward. Exactly. Okay, I get that. And the thing about it is Taylor hasn't shown. I'm only concerned because Taylor hasn't shown me beyond that one competition she's won. She's come close in several instances, but I haven't seen enough from Taylor to make me like, for example, perfect example. I thought that she would have won the last HOH. It was a focused competition. You had to stack some things up. I just thought that was in her wheelhouse. But she just didn't pull it off. So I'm not sure. I'm very indecisive when it comes to her. I think Taylor might thrive when it comes to a HOH. I think she is a huge threat to win the comic book competition. When you have to swing on the zip line and look for the differences in the comic books, I think that is something that she is going to be. Um, she's going to be in the top three, in my opinion, in that type of competition. So we'll see. We'll see. Finally, Zingbot is coming. Y'all heard about that, and I'm sure that everyone in the live feeds will see that way before I do. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I would certainly like to hear what he says about Michael. And if I know this game well enough, he is going to make fun of the other guests more so than he does Michael. He's going to make fun of the fact that they have not seen how obvious it is that he's running the game. Much like a Daniel, like Daniel did that as well, but it didn't matter. He's still in the game, right? So anyway, what day did we get Zingbot? So if you don't know, Montana, it was Julie who said later tonight. She said that last night. So I would argue that the live feeds will be buzzing with Zingbot around 10 o'clock Friday. Okay, because she said later tonight, and when she said that, it was about 10 o'clock p.m. So I don't. It's either happening at midnight, which I don't think so. I hear that Michael won HOH, so it's not going to happen that way. But it's going to happen tomorrow. Put it that way. Montana Friday will be Zingbot. I'm pretty sure, and I'm pretty sure my friends will tell me everything that happened before it even airs on TV. But anyway, I appreciate it, y'all. I'm about to fall out. I'm about to go to sleep, man. But great talking with you all, and I will be back Sunday after we find out what we already know now. But we'll be have the opportunity to talk about who Michael puts up. So that's a whole new conversation. We'll also get to see what happens in the jury house. I'm pretty sure by that point they'll start to share some things in the jury house. We'll also look forward to Thursday's double eviction and start to make some predictions. All right. So that's what's popping. That's what's going. That's what's coming up. Thank you all for chilling with your main man, Rick the Dawn, and I'll see you soon. Peace.